Feel free to interrupt me throughout as I go through this. I firmly believe in participation and feedback. If you have questions or I go too fast, talk to me. So most people are doing their email wrong. And the reason I know that is because everyone complains about email. Anyone here not get enough email? Anyone here get too much email? Right, that's what I thought. I've got 6 email addresses. I average something like 400 or 500 email a day between the 6 email addresses that I check. I have others that I don't check, but the ones that actually matter. I use Rescue Time as a tool to track my activity on my computer. It runs 24/7. In the month of November, I spent 12.5 hours just in my email on my computer. That's not counting any emails I did from my phone or from other computers, but I spent across all that email. I did it in less than 12.5 hours over the course of the whole month. So for those of you that are slower at math than me, that's like 20 minutes a day in email. Now I'm a sales guy. Email is kind of my thing. I do a lot of stuff in email. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. So email's not going away. Everyone's predicted the end of, death of, whatever. There's been the death of SMS. There's been the death of the web, death of SEO, death of email. These are billions of email messages a day. We're at double what we were 4 years ago globally. 507 billion email messages predicted for next year. Corporate ones, just ones within work or related, 187 billion a day. Or 320 billion a day just across personal email addresses. So it's not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse if you don't get better at managing it. And I'll put these slides up later, and I'll tweet it out, but I have links to where all this data came from. I didn't make it up, most of it. Plus you have all this other stuff that gets in your way and distracts you. You've got Twitter and the Facebooks and the Google Plus and the Pinterest and whatever else you look at as part of your incoming inbox throughout the day. So these rules will apply not just to email, they'll apply to other places as well, but email is where it works best. So how do you actually get your shit done throughout the day? Some people argue you should close your email and check it twice a day. Some people say you should do, only email in the morning, don't check your email in the morning. You can find an answer on the web for whatever question you want to ask. That's going to be the answer you want. The right answer is there is not a silver bullet. You have to find a system that works for you. This system works for me, and it works for a lot of people I know that do this system. So if it works, great, try it. Otherwise, tweak it where it's going to work for you. I read these 2 books a couple years ago, and it really changed the way I thought about email and other things. The first book's Getting Things Done. If you've been around Gangplank for more than 7 minutes, you've probably heard Derek say that at some point. Derek and I have had a number of conversations about the mindset and the methodology of GTD. You can find their entire websites and blog networks and everything else. It's nothing but GTD things. This takes a lot of that GTD stuff and how it comes back. Bit Literacy is a book that I won at an old Refresh Phoenix meeting like 5 years ago. And I read it over the course of a weekend. Very similar concept, but there are 2 books I recommend if you're struggling with data overload. The big concept behind getting things done that works for this is your life is an inbox. Things come to you, and until you come to some sort of resolution with them, it's a concept we call an open loop. Because somewhere in your subconscious or the back of your brain, I have to deal with that at some point. This time of year, most of us have that for Christmas shopping or planning for travel or family stuff or whatever else. You have those open loops where you're like, okay, I know I gotta deal with it. My mom's coming to town. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. Gotta get everything done. And it sits there and it uses actual energy. It actually uses your brain power and your energy and your ability to do things, to worry and to think about things. So getting things done, big thing is get it out of your brain, put it somewhere where you know you're gonna be able to look at it and do something with it, because then you can actually deal with it. So I've got 5 steps, quick things you can do to make email better. Again, there are no silver bullets. This is what I do, and these are things that you can do, just small things you can do to get better at email. The first thing you gotta do is take out the trash. The other fun thing about this time of year is this is the time of year you figure out exactly whose marketing lists you're on. Over Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday, Christmas shopping season, you're gonna get bombarded with all the email lists that you sign up for. I made the mistake of looking at my wife's email the other day, and she gets stuff from Target, and Toys R Us, and Bed Bath & Beyond, and all those email newsletters. Anyone ever read that shit? And neither. Unsubscribe from it. If you're getting email from a list that you don't need to look at all the time, get rid of it. This holds true for things like Basecamp. If you use Basecamp for client management or running things, and there are threads on the Basecamp that you are reading, that you're getting in your inbox and you have no need to, make them go away. There are settings to do that. If you're getting Facebook notifications to your email for all the stuff that happens on Facebook, dear God, why? Make it go away. Go look at Facebook every once in a while. All that stuff that comes to you automatically. I turned off email notifications when people follow me on Twitter about 6 months ago, which was mind-changing for me. It got rid of a lot of noise. Because again, that's something that just comes in, you have to think about it. Even if it's just for a second, it's waste. So get rid of all the things that come in your inbox that you don't need to read. Newsletters, coupons, Groupon, all those things, make them go away. So trim out as much stuff as you can so that you're only getting email that's actually valuable to you. The next thing is your email inbox is not your to-do list. If you treat your email inbox as a to-do list, that's where those open loops are. So a lot of people I know, oh, if it's in my inbox, I have to deal with it. Great, you've got 7,433 things. When are those going to get done? It's not going to happen. No, we all lie to ourselves. I've done it. It's not going to happen. So your inbox is on your to-do list. So things in your inbox are things that you haven't moved out of your inbox for some reason, but you need to have a to-do list that's a to-do list. Whether you do that on paper, you use a tool like Things or To-Do or Evernote or whatever, but you should have a separate to-do list. Use the tools for what they're best at. Get a to-do list that does that. Start with paper. That's the cheapest, easiest way to do it. You can figure out what works for you. This is
Chris,
just a...
Can you talk a little bit, because you and I talked the other day about how I tend to use my inbox and then I have a sub-label in my inbox that is my to-do label, so I'm still in my Gmail. And you mentioned something about there's something bad about that.
So that's that psychology of the open loops thing that comes from getting things done. It's a good start. It's better than just having a pile in your inbox. If you have things that are flagged or tagged in your inbox, Gmail has colored labels and other things where they can physically identify anything that you have to take action against. I still firmly believe that those should go into whatever you're using to manage your to-do list. And make your to-do list not your email program. I think the separation of church and state is a valuable thing to do. So I know people do that. I also don't generally, a lot of people have used Gmail, a lot of people have things that get filtered, or other mail programs have things that filter, and they automatically kick email to folders and other things. I don't do any of that. Because if it's going to go into a folder where I'm not going to read it, I just don't need to read it and make it go away. That's my thought on that. And on that note, email should be like a good sniper, one shot, one kill. And if you have a kitten and a machine gun, you can do funny pictures. I strive to touch email exactly one time. An email comes into my inbox and I do something with it, and then I should never have to touch that email again unless something changes. So if there's an email I need to reply to, I reply to it. If there's an email I need to reply to later and I don't have time, I put it in my to-do list, reply to this email later. It's not sitting in my inbox waiting for me to do something. It's just literally a matter of, here's what I have, do something with it, make an action on it right now so I get it out of my brain, and I never have to look at the email again. If there's an attachment I need to read, I download the attachment, I put it to do list, go through and review this attachment, follow up if necessary, whatever I do. But if you take that action and tell you what your next steps are from there. So you only should be touching an email once. That way you're not having to say, okay, now which email from Sean do I need to find about that thing, and you're digging through. You should be able to search for it. All email programs nowadays have a good search, so you can search by who it's sent from, words in it, and you should be able to find your email relatively quickly with the archive tool. So I don't delete emails generally because Gmail gives you a near infinite storage limit. So I'll just archive it, and if I have to find it later, I can do a quick search. Google's great at that. And then to that note, everyone hears about inbox zero. You probably have a friend or two that tweets, "Oh, I'm finding inbox zero," or you see that on Facebook every once in a while. That means if it's in my inbox, I haven't taken action yet. So my goal is to go to sleep at inbox zero, and to be at inbox zero usually by around 9:30 once I get going at work. I want to get everything that's in my inbox out and deal with it and get it in my to-do list so I can start getting the actual work done for the day. So I try to keep my inbox as close to zero as possible. I was at inbox zero before I started the presentation. I've probably gotten a handful of emails since then. We'll look in a minute. but I get them out into my to-do list. And so again, that loop is closed in my brain, and it's in a place where I know, hey, if it's in my to-do list, it's going to get done. So it's all about just tricking yourself into where the done things are. And the last thing is you get what you give. Send better emails, you will get better emails. If you send like War and Peace length treatises in your inbox, first off, you're an asshole. Second off, no one's reading it anyway. Third off, you're going to get those type of things written back. If I send something with 12 points in it that requires some sort of response, I'm going to get an email with 12 points in it that requires some sort of second response. Send one thing at a time. Send short emails. I very rarely send emails longer than a paragraph, like 4 or 5 sentences. And if I do, they're usually detailed bullet points about here's a proposal type thing or here's an action thing I need to be done. If you send better emails, you will get better emails. Your friends will respond to the way you send things. It's weird, but people try to mirror the way you behave when they respond to you, subconsciously and or consciously if they're focused on that stuff. So the crappier emails you send, the crappier replies you're going to get, and more stuff for you to deal with. For example, if someone says, "Hey, I took care of this for you. You know, let's talk later," and you send back a thanks, you're an asshole. Like, don't send thanks emails or cool emails. Or what? This is my favorite. This happens on text a lot too. I say something and someone goes, "What?" It's not like you didn't hear me. It's words that you can read. There's no misinterpretation there. I don't stutter in my email. I stutter when I talk. So try to practice good sending habits, and you'll be surprised how you get better emails back. And then the 6th of my 5 steps is lather, rinse, repeat. This is a constant practice. This is constantly that you're going to find, well, what if I try this, tweak this? And it's just like doing anything else. It's going to suck at first until you get into a rhythm with it, and then you just got to practice and keep getting better at it. So I told everyone it was going to be quick. I think I'm under 20 minutes, which is kind of my goal for these presentations. So now you can go forth and stop sucking at email. I'll show you my inboxes right now. We'll see if anyone's put trolling emails in my box while you're talking.
That's all emailing.
It won't take me very long to get rid of them. So I just opened 2 tools. My 2 things, I use Mailplane to manage all my email, and this is things. This is my to-do list for things. So it's going to load all my inboxes, and sure enough, I've gotten a bunch of stuff since then. So, you know, I've got various different things that need some sort of response. And this is my work one.
Crisati.
Here we go. Here's all the troll. Gosh, that's an interesting way to come out, sir. Good for you.
I still celebrate you.
So, I've gotten 8 emails across my 5 inboxes since I started this presentation. You know, comments, don't need to do anything with. Comments at the base camp, I kind of skim and I know what's going on there. I gotta respond to that in a minute here, gotta respond to that in a minute here. I don't want to do these in front of everybody right now because it's work stuff, but, oh look, troll, Donovan's an asshole. So that's, and the other thing that really helps that I found is learn the keyboard shortcuts. You'll notice I didn't use my mouse much at all getting around the email. There are some great keyboard shortcuts. So if you're using Gmail, turn on shortcuts. The square brackets next to O and P on your keyboard will move you up and down the list and archive the email you're in. So it archives the one you're in and moves to the next one. So now it's out of my inbox, and I move on to the next one. It's just faster than clicking around on the mouse. J and K do the same thing. They move you up and down without actually archiving if you have to do something with it later. So learn the keyboard shortcuts, even just a couple of them, makes a big difference. Also, if you use Gmail, turn on Labs and use Send and Archive. So when you reply to something, it will send it and archive that conversation out of your inbox. There's another tool I use. Derek is a fan of Boomerang, which allows you to schedule when emails go out, or if you don't get a response in X number of days, have it pop back in your inbox. I use a tool called followup.cc, which is similar without using the browser plugin. Those type of tools can be helpful. I dislike Boomerang. It's failed on me too many times. Followup.cc works better for me, but it's Coke or Pepsi, whatever works better for you. So there are other types of tools out there. For to-do list, like I said, I use Things, and it has an iPhone app, an iPad app, and a desktop app that all stay in sync. There's Wunderlist, there's Things, there's To-Do, there's Evernote. Find something that you have your to-do list with you all the time so that you can put things in it. And that alone, that practice alone will get you better at putting things in your out of your inbox into your to-do list.
What was the email? Mailplane? Is that what you?
Mailplane is what I use. I have multiple Gmail addresses.
Right.
So it allows me to manage, it's basically a frame, custom browser that will frame just Gmail addresses for you.
And so you don't have to go in and out of your different Google
I just-
profiles.
Click through the tags.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's $20, I think. But there are no good mail clients out there to manage multiple Gmail. That's the best of a bad bunch. Anyone else? Shaver.
So I always tend to respond to emails like at the conclusion of some sort of action, and I'll respond and say, I'll say thanks, because I want to acknowledge that I've received your invitation, and now you also know that I've received your invitation. Because I find that sometimes people are like, no, I didn't get that. I'm like, what? How did you not get that? What are you talking about?
So the reason they say they didn't get it is because they're bad at email. I treat anything I send, I assume that you've gotten and received at some point, and if you haven't, I'll send another email going, hey, is there any, because if I send an email, there's some sort of action required. I want some sort of response. And so if I don't get that response within a certain time frame, I'll send another email.
You only do it if there's an action.
I definitely want to respond if there's some sort of action needed from me. I assume that, and people that, the reason I do that is because I've had email conversations that literally have ended in like 4 emails back and forth going, great, thanks, cool, see you later. All right, cool, have a good weekend. Why? I don't have time for that shit. Neither does anyone else. So that's why I don't. I assume that if I send it, you've read it, and if you haven't responded, you're just waiting to, and I'll give you a time period to do so depending on what it is. Once, twice, sold? Cool. So now you're all redeeming. That's it.